This year in 2025, I was thinking that 2024 was a bit lame when it comes to new PA systems for mobile DJs. Look what we have now. This is good. I love it. All those brands out there jostling for top spot with their PAs. Now that these new PAs have been announced, I'm sure there's loads of interest. New competition entering the ring is great for us DJs. There must be many DJs now holding on to their savings, considering what move to make. QSC KC12, EV Evolve 90, EV Evolve 70, or maybe sometime later, EV Evolve 70M and EV Evolve 90M, or maybe something better than M. Quite a lot to think about right now, and that's just right now. What's round the corner? Who else has something new yet to be announced? And no doubt a lot of DJs will be holding on to their money and their credit card until they've seen some reviews or being able to visit a store and do their own demo, making their own decisions. That's the wisest choice. The brands that have been selling are not sitting pretty at the moment. Their sales are definitely likely to be hit a bit. Why is that? Let's face it. One of the first things people are going to ask is, what is the maximum SPL? All everybody wants to know is which PA is the loudest. And once you see the SPL, you've got an appetite. And the second most important thing they say is, how's the bass? How low does the bass go? How many hertz? Admit it. How loud? How low? You don't really care what it looks like, do you? And maybe you don't even really care what it sounds like. People these days seem to be more worried about the app. And there's those out there that just see the brand name and say it sounds great, whatever it sounds like. But we already know that the guests don't care. The client doesn't care what it sounds like. It's just us. I will definitely demo both. I say both because the QSC KC12 never really took my fancy. The KC12 looks very lean. Now I have all the inputs. I just can't do without it. And the wealth of onboard functions. Once you've got them, you just can't seem to live without them. I've got a feeling that something bigger or something better from QSC is around the corner. When I started DJing, the norm was to have two 18s and 12s. Well, not everybody. Some people just had two tops and that was it. And some might have had 15-inch subs. You didn't really need a sub. But the beginner DJs, they want the biggest and the best and the loudest PA out there. I think we all did. It's good to have the biggest and the best, but when you are actually doing an event and you've got a few events under your belt and you know about setting up and you know about tearing down and you know about lugging up flights of stairs when there's no lift. Once you've had a few events under your belt, you start to put on your wise head, your sensible head. Then you might think, how can I do things more efficiently to benefit me? Prior to having my Evolve 50, I had two 12-inch tops and two 18-inch subs. And my small setup would be two 8s and two K subs. And the smaller setup to that would be just two 12s, no subs. Then the Evox 12 was announced. I purchased that. Smaller sub, column top. Looks very tidy, looks very slimline, and also done the job. Then I purchased the DB Technologies ES1203. I like the idea of that. Again, very slimline, compact sub. And this PA had even more power. Two tops that were both column style arrays that could be split and you could have it in a stereo configuration. Very tidy, very neat. It had Bluetooth. It had an onboard display where you could alter many of the settings inside the unit. And it had more inputs than the Evox 12. When the Evolve 50 was announced, wow. But you'd think, from having 18-inch subs to 12-inch tops, then the Evox 12, things are getting slightly smaller. And then the DB Technologies ES1203 staying the same. Evolve 50, things have got so much smaller. 12-inch bass and a column. The massive advantage with the Evolve 50 was its weight and its footprint. No more wires, yet still being quite capable for many events. Back then, I was doing everything. Parties, award ceremonies, weddings, anniversaries, corporate events, you name it. As a beginner DJ, when the events come in, you take them on. Since the days of the Evolve 50, I have accumulated so many speakers. ETX12 745As, HDM 45As, RCF NXL 44s, 24s, Mark IIs, LD Murray 28G3, and many battery-powered 8s, and other PAs. And now I only do weddings. And for the past 2 years, I've been using 2 JBL PRX 1s. 3 pieces, 2 clicks, 1 system. These speakers only have a 12-inch sub and a column-style array. I get the bookings, I go to the events, as well as enjoying yourself and entertaining everybody else. I complete the job and I get paid. Of course, not in that order. I'd advise you to get paid before you press play. Coming from the 2 18s and 12-inch tops to the Evolve 50 and that column top, things are so much more compact and so much more lightweight. Many DJs migrating to the compact column style array speaker from those larger units. It seemed like it was a progressive and positive move forwards. I've only just realized something. When I mentioned earlier about my progression from the Evox 12 to the DBES 1203 and then to the Evolve 50, it wasn't like that. This is how it was. I purchased the Evox 12. 1 year later, I purchased the Evolve 50. I purchased the ES 1203 so soon after because it became available and it was a brand new release, and some other reasons which I'll touch on later. Evolve 70 and Evolve 90, things aren't so compact now, and they're also not as lightweight now. As I said, I do weddings. Being a mobile DJ, it's just me. Everything I need to load into a venue is done by me. Everything I need to tear down, also done by me. I'm not one of these DJs who are part of a crew and I've got loads of flight cases and I roll all of them into a venue and there's one person doing this, another person doing that. Although many people might work as part of a crew and it suits them. No, it's all me, and that's the way I want to keep it, because if anything needs to be done, it's done by me. I only need to rely on myself and nobody else. And if I don't do it, it doesn't get done, rather than me having to wait for someone else to do something. I do not work like that. I can walk into a venue with 1 PRX sub in each hand, and I can have the column bags on each shoulder, walking into a venue with all of my audio in one visit. The number of guests at a wedding reception have shrunk over the years, and they're getting smaller. I've spoken to many DJs about this, and they say the same. Past 10 years, they noticed there were so many more people at a wedding reception. Trends have changed. I do not need bigger speakers for weddings. There are very few numbers of weddings that I do where the numbers are greater. And these are usually when you have a wedding when people are originally from different parts of the world. I think traditionally at their weddings, they have a very large number of guests. And most of the time you see those, they only have a 20-foot square dance floor. So you're not playing music to many people. And if there is no dance floor, those that want to dance head towards a dancing area where the speakers are usually, or where the DJ is. The DJ is the magnet. The dance floor is the magnet. That's where the guests go to, big wedding or small wedding, to dance. Everybody can hear the music, but when you want the lights and when you want to go where the energy is to dance, you go to the dance floor. You're going to be heard. If people don't want to hear you, they can go and stand by the bar. If people don't want to dance, they will sit at a table, nod their head, tap their feet. Everybody can hear the music. You don't have to kill everybody with bass or blow the house down. It's not a prom. I do not need a bigger and heavier PA. As I said, I'm still getting paid. I've even been in venues. If you think about venues, so many are hotels. And in hotels, you have guests. And if your reception is from 7 or 8 till midnight or 1 o'clock, there are people sleeping in that hotel. And many times you get told, turn the bass down. And many times I've been told by the hotel managers, turn the volume down. Especially from around 10, 11 o'clock onwards. There's other people in that hotel who aren't there for a party. And you've also got your venues with limiters. Once you hit the limiter, the power goes off. They won't even let you bung the cushions and pillows around it. I personally do not need anything louder, and I certainly don't want anything heavier, which is the 70 and the 90. I don't even need more output. If I wanted more output, I would use 2 dedicated 18s and 2 15 tops. If I bought the 70 or the 90, I'd just be doubling up on something similar to what I already have. The main problem here is I have gas. Not that kind of gas. GAS, Gear Acquisition Syndrome. All the speakers and PA equipment I have purchased myself. Nobody has given them to me. I don't buy PAs, demo them and send them back. Unless they're rubbish, then I do send them back. Everything I still have, or most of them. I think I might have sold about 3 speakers over the years. And I'm slowly trying to sell others. I've got far more than I need. They're sitting there doing nothing. I lend a lot out. I give a lot out for others to use and enjoy. And it's not only that, it's headphones, it's cameras, it's gadgets. Boy, I could open a museum. I am doing everything to convince myself not to buy the Evolve 70 or 90. But it's tough. This upload is therapy. Believe me. Right, now where were we? And if you had 2 18s and 2 15 tops, you have more than one configuration there. You could use 2 15-inch tops and 1 18-inch sub at an event. You could also use just 2 15-inch tops, or you could use 2 15-inch tops and 2 18-inch subs at an event. If you had 2 Evolve 70s, you can't do anything else with those. That is how they are. You can't use the bass without the tops, or the tops without the bass. I do believe you can buy the subs separately, so you could have 1 complete Evolve 70 or Evolve 90 and an additional sub, or you could buy 2 additional subs or 3 additional subs, whatever takes your fancy. And even if you used 1 Evolve 70, it doesn't sound right. Using 1 speaker, I don't care what anybody says, if you use 1 speaker at an event and you say, oh, it's got great SPL, it doesn't sound right. It will not have the coverage or the impact of 2 speakers. You're losing that full sound that you get with 2 equivalent speakers, whether it's a compact column style array or any other kind of single speaker. Might be okay for performers in a bar or somewhere else, but to DJ an event, nah. A 70M and a 90M, it seems as if it's going backwards, back in time, instead of going forward. I think the Evolve 70 and the Evolve 90 are about 7 years too late. You're getting heavier speakers again, and although there's more output, there would be anyway if I used 2 12-inch tops and 2 18-inch subs. I'm not even too sure how they'd look. These would be 2 quite bulky speakers now. And regarding looks, it just seems like a supercharged Evolve 50. They've not even tried to freshen up the looks or the lines from the Evolve 50. The 70 and the 90 just look like, let's say, 7-year-old speakers. Retaining their style, yeah, you can't put a drink on the top. I know you can't get any drinks on the handle area, but there's more flat area on the edge of that sub. So I think you just might see the drinks accumulating on these, which can be a pain on your new speakers. But I think it looks dated. What I think Electro Voice should do is, let's say, for example, when they want to bring out the 70M or the 90M or NOPQRST, whatever they're going to call it, I think they should clean up the lines. I think the Evolve 50 and especially the 70 and the 90, they look too angular. We saw those angles 7 years ago. That's just being lazy, not even redesigning it. Soften those angles up a bit. That will make something look up to date, freshened up, refreshed. Bring it into the future rather than using those tired angles. If you think of the grille on the EV ELX112P, the passive speaker, it's curved at the edges. There's no angular shapes like the Everse 12 or the ZLX12P or the angles of the grille on the Everse 8. And the column speakers, again, too angular. Curve them around. Even curve the angle going on the lower part of the column speakers. I know it might be their signature style and look, but bringing out a redesigned 70M and a 90M in a couple of years' time just could boost things in the way that they want them to go. I think that would be a smart move. Freshening the lines up in design, I think these two PAs would have definitely benefited from that. I mean, these have been around long enough. These two speakers might be 10, 20 more kilos than what I'm already having to carry. 7 years ago, when the Evolve 50 came out, if the Evolve 70 came out a short while after that, or the 90, I think I definitely would have bought one of them. I think it might have even outsold the Evolve 50. Oh, they'll definitely sell. Going back to what I mentioned earlier, when I purchased the Evox 12, then the Evolve 50, then the ES1203. The reason why I purchased the ES1203 is when I got the Evolve 50, I think I was blinded with how quick setup was and how quick teardown was. I just wanted something with a bit more clout. And when I listened to the ES1203 after having the Evolve 50, I realized that's what I wanted. I was really trying to find out what would work for me, what would work for the events that I'm doing, what I was comfortable with, what I was happy with, what could do the job. Back then, I thought totally different to how I think now, but I was doing a lot of different events back then. Forget about poles and cables again, not even really the fact that it was a stereo PA. Forget about carrying more weight and all the good stuff. I preferred the ES1203, which is a bit contradictory to what I've already said. The ES1203 had better output. Although the Evolve 50 sounds good, not amazing. It's nice to have a bit of rumbly bass, and the ES1203 had that. When you need it, of course. Weddings, I don't need it. And overall, I preferred the ES1203, be it bigger and heavier, which is why I did not buy two Evolve 50s or two Evox 12s. 7 years later, with so many choices of compact column style arrays, more money, weddings, I don't know. I wonder how many of those want to go back to larger, heavier PA systems. I can see beginner DJs buying these. You're going to want the latest system out there. You're going to want a system with great output, with good, decent bass. And these new PAs are advertised as having exactly that. I hope this time around they've managed to produce a 70 and 90 with decent mids. That was the one thing that was a bit poor in the Evolve 50. No mids. I really do think, and I really do hope, it will sound impressive. After all this, knowing me, I most probably will end up getting one. But which one? Watch this space.